All right, so welcome back to Vintage Pop. I'm your host, Greg May. We are back at 1984 with our guest co-host, Rich, and we're going to be talking about our second movie, Psycho 3, from 1986, I believe.
3 times the fun.
Maybe. It's okay.
Interesting. You like Psycho 2 better?
I might.
Okay.
And I don't know, though. This one felt more like a movie, though, whereas Psycho 2 seemed more of like a made-for-TV movie.
I think it almost was. I believe that.
Really?
I believe they had started out intending Psycho 2 to be a made-for-TV movie, but then they got Anthony. They didn't think they were going to get Anthony Perkins.
Yeah. There's a difference in the type of filming. And I mean, one, obviously it's director choice for one, Richard Franklin directing Psycho 2,
sure.
Anthony Perkins directing Psycho 3, which is actually one thing that Ebert said when he reviewed Psycho 3. Apparently him and Siskel were split on it.
Ebert liked it. I remember actually seeing that Siskel and Ebert.
And
so
Ebert's,
I remember when Psycho 3 came
out.
You
didn't see it in theaters?
I didn't see it in theaters. I was 10.
Caught it on HBO?
I saw it on cable. I remember seeing it that summer '87. I think my parents were away, so I was staying up late. I had an older sister who let me do stuff.
Yeah.
I remember staying up late seeing that at like midnight in the middle of the summer. It's now become, since I bought the Blu-ray, a summer movie for me. I watch it every summer. I mean, that movie's like, that's sweat on your lower back. That whole movie. It's so hot.
Yeah, it's. I'll say this: it's definitely the most lurid Psycho sequel.
Absolutely. It's lurid. It's like a noir. I watched a lot. I watched the commentary and some background stuff on this, and apparently Anthony Perkins made not necessarily, they weren't sure if it was the cast, but definitely the crew go see Blood Simple, the Coen Brothers movie. Now, have you ever seen that?
No.
You should. And Blood Simple is like a dark comedy almost, and very noirish and very darkly funny, which Psycho 3 is darkly funny.
Oh yeah,
it's a weird movie.
I mean, yeah, it definitely is. I remember the first time I saw Psycho 3 was on Sci-Fi Channel in like the early 2000s.
So you saw it all cut up.
Yeah. And so I didn't see everything that I saw today.
Oh, today was the first time you saw it uncut.
Uncut, completely uncut.
Interesting.
I remember the climax. I remember the end of the movie, but that was about it. And I knew it was more of, Bates out of the mental institution.
Yes.
And I mean, in this movie, where it's steps that gets him unhinged again in Psycho 2.
Yes.
He's unhinged when the camera starts rolling in Psycho 3.
Yes. Which
is unfortunate, because I will say one thing about this movie where in Psycho 2, I felt more remorse for Norman Bates. I felt more bad for... I felt worse for his character as him. You wanted to see him be normal.
Okay.
Whereas in this, you're just like, you're nuts, dude. Like,
I don't know.
I think this is the most we've ever seen Norman Bates this unhinged.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I'll go with that.
I mean, we've always he's talked to Mother, and
I think it has the highest body count.
Oh, for sure.
5 or so, or whatever it is. But yeah, I think it's the most.
The one of the kills is not completely his fault.
True.
At the end,
and actually, I'm counting the one at the beginning, which isn't him at all.
Which one?
The nun.
Oh.
So
she was killed by Diana Scarwood's acting.
Yeah. So this is the most sacrilegious Psycho. It opens with the line, "There is no God."
Yes.
And you don't like. So you were unhappy with Diana? Is it Scarwood?
Yeah. Okay. So she plays the grown-up Tina in Mommy Dearest with Faye Dunaway.
Right.
So the whole time I'm thinking,
no wire hangers.
No wire hangers. I'm not one of your fans, which turns into Faye Dunaway linebacker tackling Diana Scarwood through a glass coffee table. Meanwhile, the writer for Red Book or Vogue is in the other room in that scene of the movie. Which, I mean, to kind of go off track a little bit, you've seen Mommy Dearest, right?
Yeah.
Do you like it?
I don't think anyone likes it, objectively, but it's
I don't pop it on this is going to be a great time.
It's an enjoyable experience. It's probably the first, I guess, maybe not the first.
It's campy.
It's definitely campy, but it's not on purpose. Mm-mm. I mean, it's all an accident.
I mean, yeah. And
everyone's trying their hardest. It's just, it comes out.
I mean, the fact of the matter is Joan Crawford was that over the top.
Yes.
And I mean, I don't know what. That's something that I've never read the book, Mommy Dearest.
Okay.
I don't. Have you?
No.
I have seen, like, I watch a lot of old television and stuff on YouTube. So,
Sure.
like, there was an episode of the Mike Douglas show where the actual Christina Crawford was on.
Okay.
And that was the first time at that point that I had any type of notion that maybe, like, some of the stuff she was saying wasn't true.
Okay.
And you get that vibe. As the more you read about it, you're like, this is too much. Like, I mean, somebody had to know what was going on.
Sure.
And that's not to say that it's all lies either. I mean, I'm sure some stuff happened. But, I mean, Diana Scarwood in that. And that's probably Diana Scarwood's most recognizable role.
Mommy Dearest.
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know her from anything else besides this.
Have you ever seen the movie Heat with Burt Reynolds?
No, you discussed it on and off, but no.
She's a blackjack dealer in it.
Okay.
Did a lot of TV.
Not a big role.
No, she did a lot of TV.
She's in the so I have this other DVD, The Psycho Legacy, which is it's kind of like a bunch of documentaries on the entire series.
Oh, really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
And she's in it for part 3, and she's got that lifetime smoker voice now. She's still
really?
Yes. Yeah, she sounds like one of my aunts from when I was growing up. She still looks good though in the thing. I guess the thing's from like 5 years ago.
Wow.
So she's probably.
Is that on YouTube?
I don't know. I'll let you borrow it. It's
All
a
right.
DVD.
Yeah.
It even covers part 4.
I like part 4.
I like part 4 too. I haven't seen it in years.
The radio host is in Robocop 3. She's in.
Oh, it's got the main girl from original
Olivia
Black
Hussey,
Christmas
yeah.
as Norman's mom. Did you watch Bates Motel, the series?
No, but do you remember after 4 came out, they tried Bates Motel before?
Yes, with Bud Cort. I was going to bring that up.
It was Psycho 5.
Well, it was a TV movie.
Yeah.
I watched it.
And Norman's like dead, right?
Yeah, Norman's not in it. I think it's his cousin. I think Bud Cort might be related to Norman.
I think Norman is dead.
Yeah,
There's
forget.
some type of spirit of Norman Bates at the motel.
I saw it. And then there's also the author. So Psycho is a book.
Robert Bloch, yeah.
Yes. And he wrote 2 sequels. So he wrote Psycho 2, which they did not turn into the movie.
But didn't he write that in response to them making a Psycho 2?
Yes, because they wouldn't take his screenplay.
And it's very mean about Hollywood, that book.
It is, and Norman's not the killer in it. Norman gets killed in it.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a book. I read that when I was in like 6th grade.
We had it in our high school library.
Really?
Psycho 1 and 2. It was a combined. I didn't read it, but I remember seeing it on the shelf.
It's a great library.
Yeah.
Back in the day, libraries used to mess up and put adult stuff in kids sections. I remember the Wilmington Library had Stephen King's The Long Walk in the teen section.
When you were growing up? Did you read Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark?
I have them on my coffee table.
Okay.
Yes.
So yeah, that was something I remember was on like a lower shelf in my elementary school
That was
library.
huge. I remember.
I don't know how the hell that was in like an elementary school.
Oh, well, that was normal in the 80s.
But it was. You know what it was though?
Those were marketed at children.
It's not even the stories that are scary. It's the illustrations in that book.
Yeah. Well, did you ever read?
Whack.
You ever see Edward Gorey's illustration? He had a lot of stuff with children dying. The Tinsley something where it goes through the alphabet and it's different kids dying in different ways and it's a poem.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I'd rather read like Sideways Stories from the Wayside.
My generation, older generations, they marketed dark stuff at us, man.
The Alvin Schwartz, I think, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. I remember I listened to the second one. I checked out the book and the audio cassette from like the county library, and that was actually pretty cool.
Probably some great sound effects.
Oh yeah, but there's one page in the first book. The story's called The Haunted House, and it's about a woman that was killed by like her lover or something in the house. And the I don't know if you know the illustration, but I
don't remember it.
She has like it looks like her face is like rotten by her eyes, and it's gross. That's what stuck with you with that book.
Sure.
But yeah, I mean, stuff like that, like Psycho 1 and 2. Now, that was in high school. We had that in there, which I guess...
And those are adult books.
Yeah, I mean, a high schooler, like a 17, 18-year-old kid.
In the original Psycho book, the shower scene, she gets her head cut off.
Really?
Yes. Yeah, so a little more brutal.
Well, in the first Psycho 2, a big deal was that they showed a toilet flushing.
Yes.
So I'll tell you, you're not going to get into decapitation.
I'll tell you one thing that made me just kind of my shoulders slump in Psycho 3 is showing the shower scene again.
Yes,
If
yes,
they did-
and that's something I complained about with Psycho 2.
Yes.
I don't think that was necessary in Psycho 2.
No, not at all.
I mean, if you're going to see Psycho 2,
You've probably seen Psycho.
you know who Norman Bates is. You know the story. You know what's going on. I mean, even the trailer. Okay, you can use it in the trailer.
Sure.
Because I guess in a marketing sense,
Sure.
you're trying to get viewers, oh, hey, remember this? You remember, and I mean, that's here's my complaint about Psycho 3. Too many tropes of the first one.
You know, it's interesting, and one of the behind-the-scenes things was Anthony Perkins talking about Psycho 3 and why it didn't work, and he said there's too much of Psycho 1 in Psycho 3.
That's exactly what it is. I mean, I get it, like Diana Scarwood. So we'll get into the plot then a little bit, and then we can kind of cut it up a little bit.
Sure.
So Diana Scarwood plays like a nun that's fallen from grace, and
She's not down with the nunhood anymore.
Her other nun took a fall too.
Literally. in a wink to Vertigo.
Yes. So yeah, all right. So yeah, so she leaves the convent, I guess you would call it. And what is it with the Psycho movies that like the towns in California, like Fairvale, is it just like in the middle of absolute nowhere?
I don't know. There's a lot of California, I think, that is like that.
Because she walks out of the convent and then just goes out into the desert.
Well, I think the cliche picture of California is like the big cities. Like it's like how people think of New York, they only think of Manhattan.
But if you go upstate New York, it's like
it's not like Manhattan.
Yeah.
California's the same way. People picture either like San Diego or San Francisco, but there's a huge chunks of California that's nada. It's just so I think
so. I guess that's
accurate.
one of those places. And I guess too, like 30 years ago, too, things aren't built up. Like I mean, even our state, Delaware, here where I live down in Middletown, like apparently that was absolutely nothing before I was down there.
Bear was nothing.
It's
like
still
20 years
nothing.
ago.
It's still nothing. But I mean, we have a movie
so.
theater, But yeah, so she walks out on the highway and she finds an early Jeff Fahey role.
Yes, Jeff Fahey in one of the best roles.
God,
Quentin Tarantino loves him in that role.
He's scummy.
He really is. I think he's scummy then too. Although they kind of make him try to be 80s sympathetic, but you watch it now in your post Me Too thing, you're just like, ugh.
No, immediately he's like scummy. He tries to put a move on her in the car. Yeah, so she hitchhikes and he picks her up in his like dilapidated Buick.
Yes.
And he tries to put a move on her, to which she
bails.
Yeah.
And she ends up at the Bates Motel,
where he winds up as well because he's going to be the manager.
Right. He works there first, and he's already ripping off Norman.
And yeah. Norman, I don't think much time has passed since Psycho 2 in this movie.
That's answered in the commentary. It's like a few weeks.
Okay, yeah, it sounds. I think it was a month because like they were still like.
He still had flyers looking for the woman he killed at the
Emma
end
Spool,
of the movie.
who's technically like.
Which the movie. So, spoiler alert for Psycho 2. At the end, there's a character who tells Norman that she was actually his mother. And she did all the murders before, and the screenwriter Anthony Perkins didn't like that, and he told the screenwriter to undo that. So there's a reporter character in the movie, which this time watching it, I noticed she's really just a plot device to undo that character being Norman's mother, because at the end they say, oh no, Emma Spool, the woman who claimed it was his mother, it wasn't. It was his mother, just like back in the early Psycho.
Yeah, and
she's just a plot device.
She also too is like putting the screw to Norman. Like I mean Norman's already unhinged at this point in this movie, but she does not make things better for the residents of Fairvale. And
you could remove her from the movie and up all the weird plots, and I think you'd still have. I think you'd even have a better movie. I like this movie.
Here's something I liked. I liked that they kept the owner of the diner and the sheriff. They recast them from Psycho 2.
Yep. Yeah.
Also, there's a pretty solid Berserk machine in the diner.
Oh, okay.
And my pinball machine that I own at home is I mean I haven't seen it since cable on Sci-Fi, but I have a 1981 Kings of Steel or 82 Kings of Steel, and there it is in the diner. You don't get.
Wow.
Yeah, I was like, oh my god, that's my pinball machine. So I'll post a picture of it in the blog, and so whenever anybody sees the movie, they'll be able to see, like, up there it is. So it's funny how you see stuff like that. The bar that Jeff Fahey's in when he talks to the reporter at one point, there's a Kiss pinball machine in there.
Okay.
I think since and it's funny to say, we're sitting in a barcade. It's funny since I've gotten like more and more into arcade games and purchased arcade games and stuff like that, I kind of noticed them more in movies back then. Now I'm like, oh, that's a Berserk. Oh, that's a Pac-Man. That's a Wild Gunman. So stuff like that. But like I said, I think when we were talking about Friday the 13th Part 3 about how there's more slasher tropes at that point, they're in Psycho 3 completely.
Well, and this is a weird point of the slasher movie. Like, so it's past like the big rage for slasher movies was 80 to 83. 86 was a great deal, but horror movies were still pretty big in the 80s then. And I think the kills in this movie are great.
Yeah, and they're not terribly brutal. I mean, the gore's up there, but I mean, I think it's just like anything else you would see in any other slasher movie.
At the time, yes, yeah, probably.
I mean, the
So,
film.
I paid attention to what came out around Psycho.
Oh, good.
I thought that was kind of interesting. So, where was it? I might have tossed that. Maybe not. Because I was curious what else came out that year.
I think Child's
slasher-wise.
Play was maybe the year before. Was that 85?
That was 88.
Really?
Yeah, I think that was later. Maybe I didn't save that. No, I did that for Friday 13th, not Psycho. But yeah, so we're kind of outside the whole slasher peak. So it's a little weird. I don't know. I thought it did some interesting things, some interesting settings. The phone booth kill kind of mimics the shower kill in a way.
Okay, so I can tell you what came out horror related in 1985.
86.
Okay, hang on. So, yeah, 85 was Nightmare on Elm Street 2. 86, you got The Fly, which isn't a slasher, but a horror movie.
It's same screenwriter.
Is it really?
Yeah, same screenwriter did Psycho 3 and The Fly, because the commentary on Psycho 3 is with him.
Texas Chainsaw 2.
I love that movie.
It's a great movie. I don't know why they have aliens on here, but...
Aliens was that summer.
Jason Lives came out in 1986.
That's right.
Ooh, Henry, the Portrait of a Serial Killer.
That's not a good movie to watch more than once.
I could not get through it again.
You couldn't get through it at all?
I watched it, but I'm saying, like, if you were to, like, hey, why don't you watch Henry again? I'm like, that's outrageous.
I own the Blu-ray. I don't think I've ever watched it.
Why did you even buy it?
It was like $5.
I got it back.
A great movie.
I rented it back when I used to get DVDs from Netflix.
Yeah.
And that came in the mail. I watched that, and I was just like, all right.
I saw that when I was 12, I think.
Really?
Yeah, 86. It's an 86. I saw it on video.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
I remember seeing it in a video store.
I saw
one
some
time.
distributing stuff on video back in the day. I
That-
saw Last House on the Left when I was 12.
I'd say Henry's worse.
Last House on the
All right, Last House on the Left.
House on the Left has rape. Henry doesn't have graphic rape.
Yeah, but I don't. Henry is just so like. Henry doesn't get off the gas pedal.
True.
It's just like from your first frame of the movie, the pedal goes down and it doesn't get off until the credits roll.
It is a downer of a movie.
It's a super downer. Where Last House on the Left, you got like the two idiot like Dukes of Hazzard cops.
Yeah, I've always that never really made an impression though. Like Last House goes so low in a way, but I get what you're saying.
David Hess in that movie, man, he plays a great scumbag.
He really does.
I mean, he's like up there with like Dennis. No, he's better than Dennis Franz, who was in Psycho 2.
Psycho
It was
2?
Mr.
Sure.
Toomey, and we were. I my notes last time we were talking when I was talking with Dan. I had in my notes I called him King of the Scumbags, Dennis Franz. I mean, he was also in. I was talking about Blowout. You ever seen that with John Travolta?
Yeah, actually, I rewatched that a few months ago.
I just got the Criterion.
Yeah.
I got that at Christmas time. I have like a CED video disc of it, and that's how I watched it the first time.
Okay.
So like as it's like skipping because it's basically a video on a record.
Wow.
But that's how I watched it the first time.
Interesting. It's a good movie. Mm-hmm. Most of Hama holds up,
Yeah. Who's also a big Hitchcock guy.
obviously.
So she, I guess to get back to the plot.
Sure.
Diana Scarwood shows up at the Bates Motel with Jeff Fahey, and she just so happens to look exactly like Marion Crane, down to the suitcase where
Quite
it
a
says
bit.
MC on it.
Yes.
And so she's having a real bad time after the nun ordeal.
Sure.
And she goes. Oh, and Jeff Fahey, to pound more Psycho 1 references down your throat, she is assigned Cabin 1, which
The infamous room.
has the spying window mirror. No,
Peephole.
Peephole. Yeah, it is when you start to get into the real like lurid Bates stuff
Yes.
compared to like. You know what? Psycho 3 is Psycho 1 for the audience
80s?
for the 80s.
Maybe. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's legit.
If Psycho, like, if Hitchcock didn't do Psycho 1 and somebody took that screenplay and made a movie in 1985 or 1986, that's kind of what you're going to get.
I think Hitchcock was always bummed he didn't get to make stuff during like the R rated. Did you ever see Frenzy?
That's his only R-rated movie,
Yes,
right?
yeah.
I've never seen it. I know it's mainly a British cast, right?
Yes, and it's violent for him. It's easily his most violent movie.
Yeah.
You should see it.
Have you ever seen Family Plot?
Yes.
Is it good?
No,
Yeah.
it's not. Even with Bruce Dern,
I don't like Bruce Dern.
it's PG.
I hate Bruce Dern.
It's wacky.
Can I say? Have you ever seen
You
Silent?
hate Bruce Dern?
I'll tell you what movie did it for me. Silent Runnings.
Never saw it.
Don't watch it. It'll ruin your Bruce Dern.
I've seen the cover.
He's just boring.
Really?
Boring.
Thumbs down on Silent Running.
Yeah, I got it at the Goodwill in Middletown, and like I kind of would be fine if they wanted to take
That's
it back.
the period when Sean Connery was doing a lot of sci-fi, right? 70s? Is it 70s sci-fi? That
Yeah.
stuff's not great.
Logan's Run's good though.
Yeah, I bet you Dan would probably have a stronger opinion, but like a lot of that sci-fi from the 70s kind of...
Outland's like what, 1980?
Is that 80?
I don't know. I still haven't seen it. I saw it in that box. I could have saw it,
Sure,
but
sure.
I don't
Yesterday.
know. I'm sure there was better ways to come across it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what else. Yeah, Silent Maroons is in the 70s.
Saturn 3?
That's 80s. You know,
That
Harvey
80s?
Keitel is in Saturn 3.
Is he? That one's supposed to be good,
They
actually.
dubbed over his voice, though.
The original Westworld's like 74.
I like that movie.
I've seen it. It's okay.
There's a movie that Sidney Lumet did with Sean Connery in the 70s. I can't think of what it is, but it was his first movie after Bond. They were talking. There's a Facebook group called Cinema of the 70s on Facebook, and they were talking about it.
Start with a Z.
No, you're thinking Zardoz. That's John Borman.
Okay.
Who also did
Exorcist 2.
That's a fun time. Not really.
I've never seen it.
You've
all
never
the way
seen it?
through. No, the way through. I remember.
You know, it would be a pretty good like bonus episode one day.
What's that?
Live commentary of Exorcist 2.
I think Dan has it.
We could like, man, I wonder if we could do it here one time. That'd be funny.
That'd be interesting.
Yes.
Isn't it long? Like 2.5 hours?
It's trash.
2.5 hours and a lot of locusts?
It's trash.
Yeah.
The score's weird. Like, but like, here's the thing: when you're Warner Brothers, and because Zardoz came out before Exorcist 2.
Okay.
You're screening for directors, and
Sure.
you watch Zardoz. Have you ever watched Zardoz?
I have not.
It's a whack job show. You watch that and you go, "That's the guy I want to direct Exorcist 2." I don't know. I mean, and then after that, he gets Excalibur, which is like a great movie.
He recovered, did he? He didn't.
I mean, Excalibur's a great movie.
He didn't end up
That
like
was the
Michael Cimino.
Oh my God! Well, Heaven's Gate, he was done.
He did The Sicilian after that.
Really, that's the other Mario Puzo novel,
And
right?
I think that one tanked too. I think that's 86 or mid 80s.
Yeah. But yeah, this is definitely like your sleazier.
It is a
psycho
sleazy.
movie.
So the girl who's with the girl gets killed in the telephone booth.
Yeah.
Juliette Cummins, I think's her name.
Yes.
She's in Friday the 13th Part 5, which I love that connection.
Which is also the sleaziest of the Friday movies.
Oh
too.
my gosh, I love that movie.
Danny Steinman.
That movie will
Is that Danny Steinman?
Yes.
Yeah, who also directed Savage Streets.
Yes, Friday 5 will give you HPV. It's awesome. You come away from that movie.
A lot of people don't like it because they're like, "Ooh, it's not Jason, really."
Well,
but
those
like,
people are just being dumb. It's a guy in a hockey mask killing people.
what does it matter who it is?
It really doesn't.
It's either
a
superhuman.
It's not a good Friday the 13th sequel, but it's a great piece of cinema.
Yeah.
But Psycho 3, so you didn't love it. You'd put it last?
No, I guess I would put it over the made-for-TV movie, the Psycho 4, the beginning.
I need to watch that again because I really think I liked it.
It's got Olivia Hussey in it.
Yeah. We
Who
said that
is like
earlier.
a Mrs. Bates.
Yeah, but I mean, I think I liked that a lot. But I'd have to see it again to really rate it in context
It's
with the
out
rest of
there.
the series. Yeah.
Sometimes Target sells like a 4-piece like set.
I don't know if I need that.
Yeah.
I have 1 and 3 on Blu-ray.
But yeah, I mean that would be my that would be my like hot take on Psycho 3. It's up the violence, up the nudity.
If you like the late 80s vibe of things.
Yeah, it definitely has that vibe. Now, I will tell you this. It was shot by a guy named Bruce Surtees, I guess. Notable stuff that he shot, Dirty Harry, Night Moves, The Outlaw Josie Wales.
I just watched that like last week.
The Shootist, Escape from Alcatraz, A Honky Tonk Man, which is a terrible
That's
Clint
not a
Eastwood
good
movie.
Clint Eastwood movie. Yeah.
Bad Boys, which
Sean Penn
not
one?
the other one.
That Bad Boys, the Sean Penn one, is hard as nails.
I love that movie.
That movie will beat you up and take your lunch money.
That's an HBO special right there.
That used to play on HBO a lot, yeah. I remember that playing on regular TV a lot, too.
He also shot the first Beverly Hills Cop. License to Drive.
I like that movie.
Tightrope. And then in the 90s, nothing really worth talking about. Karina.
Nah.
And I don't know.
Whoopi Goldberg, right?
Yeah, and Ray Liotta. He shot Risky Business. And I like Firefox. That's
Firefox is good. Not great.
Firefox is one of those good, like, Firefox would have did better in the 70s. Firefox came out in 1982.
I think it did pretty well, didn't it?
I can tell you. Hang on. Side note, Firefox had a budget of $21 million, and it made $46 million. So, I mean, it made its money back.
I guess Blue Thunder did better.
That's the one with Dabney Coleman. No, Roy Scheider's
Roy Schneider's in it.
Yeah.
But that's kind of similar with like a...
I don't know. But it's got like that... It's got that early... Okay, so... The early 80s, some movies from the early 80s carry some stuff over from the late 70s.
Of course.
It's like those drawn-out, slow burn, like dramatic 70s, like international espionage type movies that just like...
Very plotty. I remember, I read the book.
Have you ever seen the movie The Amateur?
I don't even think I've heard of that.
Okay, so The Amateur's got the guy from The Deer Hunter. I can't think of his name. He's the one that winds up in the wheelchair. He's the one that gets married in the beginning. I don't know if you've ever seen The Deer Hunter.
It's been a while since I've watched it.
So he gets married in the beginning, and he like loses use of his legs in the war. Mm-hmm. And but he plays like a guy who's his wife or love interest. She's in like France, and she happens to be in a place when like terrorists shoot the place up, and she dies. Okay. But he's like a pencil pusher for the CIA, so he blackmails them basically, and into letting him hunt these people down himself.
Okay.
But like I said, it's a long, drawn-out, hard-boiled, political, like mumbo-jumbo. Takes forever to get.
So you think that's like Firefox?
Yes.
Okay.
So I wouldn't say don't watch Psycho 3. I wouldn't tell you that. I liked it.
I liked it more.
I just think I like Psycho 2 more than I like Psycho 3.
That's fair. I don't love Psycho 2. It's certainly I would recommend it.
So, all right. Well, as always, we'll put a link for that as well. We'll take one final break. We'll talk about some upcoming events, and then we'll get out of here. We'll be right back.